Long neck Josh, welcome back to my channel.
Wow, it's been some time, hasn't it?
It really has.
Been quite some time. How are
Optimistic Hall of
you?
Famer, folks. I've been doing good. How have you been? That's another question people want to know.
Um, for those of you who want to know, obviously, I think I mentioned this the last time I was on the channel, or Christian mentioned it. Things didn't work out at CNU. I took the past fall semester off, or the spring semester, I apologize. Um, so I took that semester off to really think about things. But for those of you who want to know, I'm back in college now. I'm just taking some classes at a community college. Those are going great so far. My mental health is in a really good place. Personally, I'm in a really good place right now. So,
I've also think to myself, I've been doing a lot better too since, I've gone through a lot of changes. But what I want to know is, so far, what have you thought about the return of this Depression Update series?
I think it's a great thing that you're doing this. You're vocalizing what you've been through, and you've been updating people on your mental health, which is very, very important. People don't realize how important mental health is today. You never know what somebody could be going through. I'm just going to use you as an example really quickly. A lot of people know you for Sins videos. A lot of people are like, "Oh, he's this WWE Sins guy. That's what he is. He seems so happy in those videos." In reality, I know you. You're my brother. You you struggle with depression, as do I. We have our moments. Everybody is a human being. That's what people need to understand. So I think the fact that you're doing these depression updates is great for the fact that you're reminding people, hey, you're just like everybody else. You have feelings, you go through shit. But, you know, to see support that you're getting from your fan base and support from me, of course, and your family and your friends, it's great to see.
Yeah, that is very true. And of course, I brought you here because the subject of this video is called Brotherhood. And I thought to myself, I wanted to talk about, how a strong bond with somebody could actually help you in the positive lights when you're in a very dark place. And well, I figured who better to bring it for this than, well, Long Net Josh.
Yeah,
6.5 years ago, we met on Skype like we are on Skype right now. This is being recorded via Skype, folks. And basically that's how it all started for us. But I wanted to get into you because a lot of people have already heard my side of the story when it comes to how I've dealt with things and how much I have gotten a positive impact thanks to my bonds with others. So what I wanted to go through, and folks, ahead of time, I wanted to let you guys know that Lana Josh here has agreed to talk about some certain subjects that could be tough to discuss normally. So don't worry, everything. I'm not putting him on the spot or anything. I talked to him prior to this.
absolutely.
So what I wanted to first ask on your part is, prior to meeting me, what was life honestly like for you?
Prior to meeting you, I met you my eighth grade year of high school. So around this time, my mental health was, I feel, slowly declining. And it really declined all throughout, like even a little bit, even after I met you. But before I met you, it was slowly declining. And I could really tell that I wasn't really content with how I was doing. Like, I didn't really have many friends, I had a lot of social anxiety. um, it wasn't, I wasn't in the greatest place, and I didn't really have much motivation either. I slacked off on schoolwork a lot, and I would just blow people off, and it was just not the best time. So it's rough looking back on it, but I also think it's important to look back on just to know that's where I was, and just to know, like, okay, why was I in that place, and how do I make sure I don't get in that place again?
So honestly, what did it feel like when you said you blew off your friends from like hangouts and get-togethers, and what was going through your mind, afterwards when you probably found out everyone had a lot of fun and you thought to yourself, "Oh, I could have been a part of that."
Um, Yeah, I'd look back and I'd realize, yeah, I shouldn't have blown them off. I should have hung out with them because I think, and I obviously realize this now, it's not good to be a social hermit, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's many people like that, and there are times where you're gonna feel like a hermit, but I think it's very important to have interactions with people. And if I was going through a rough time and I blew somebody off, I should have still hung out with them because maybe they could have helped me get through some of it. It's you think about, I was in a rough place, but I think I needed some happiness, and I think blowing people off didn't give me satisfaction at all. I don't know why I did it, but it's just it's what it was. I I try not to blow people off anymore for intentionally, just to keep to myself. That it's not a healthy behavior to have.
Yeah, usually these days when you're invited to something but you blow them off, it's mostly because these days you're too busy. You actually
Well,
have
yeah,
you have a logical reason.
right.
But and as I've said before, folks, Josh has said he was comfortable with talking about this.
Yeah,
In 2016, you actually there was a time in the fall where you had a very traumatic moment in your life. Are you gonna be okay with sharing it?
yeah, absolutely. I won't go into too much detail about why I was in this state. That's personal to my family and I.
Absolutely.
But I will say my depression was definitely the worst in during this time period. I had just started high school, and I'll say one of the contributing factors to this would be the transition from middle school to high school. Um, but it was rough. I was giving up a lot of hope on things, and I I almost attempted suicide. My mom actually found me before I was about to do it, and well, she took me to a mental hospital. I stayed there for about a week and learned some things there. It was a behavioral center more than it was a mental hospital because it was for kids. But it definitely helped me to realize, what was I doing? Like, I have so much more to live for. And overall, like, the suicidal thoughts didn't just disappear after that. Like, they'd still come up every once in a while, but it never got to that point again where, like, I was about to attempt. So the behavioral center definitely did help me, but at the same time, I had many others who I was able to open up to, you included. So that helped me get through that period of time. And I tried to follow what you always say on your channel. You say this a lot. Think optimistically, and that's something that I think everyone should try to do.
Yeah, being inside like a mental hospital, or as you called it, a behavioral center. Sometimes it works for some cases, for other times it doesn't, because in a way, you're sometimes still feeling trapped. Your case it was at least positive, and at least like give you a slap of reality. And folks, for the record, I'm gonna actually put the number right out here. If you're ever in like a really tough spot to the point where you feel like you just want to commit suicide, you're not alone. Contact a friend, contact a family member, or if that's not gonna work, call this number right here. Call 1-800-273-8255. It's the United States Suicide Hotline. Or if you're in the in other places, call your local suicide hotline. I actually promoted this once in a Sins video.
You did, I remember, and this is a great thing, honestly. When did you promote? Was it during the
Royal Rumble 1998.
right?
Um,
But it was the mini.
Many Mad Rumble and Jerry Lawler was making constant references, and
Yeah,
one of the references he said was, "Hey, I heard this guy try to commit suicide by jumping off of a curb," which I understood was a little bit humorous, but suicide humor is not the best. But um,
yeah,
I will also ask, like I said, the title of this is Brotherhood. Um, and it doesn't just have to be because of me. Like you also have your actual brother, whose name we're not gonna name out here.
Yeah.
But Josh has an older brother who's always been there with him. So in not just me, but it's also him. We've both in some ways collaborated, not literally, but you guys get what I mean, into helping Josh get better with his depression. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. There are times where you need to be by yourself, but sometimes you just need some time to yourself to try and figure things out. But don't hesitate to talk to the people you can trust the most. And for my case, it was Josh. A lot of times he saved me. A lot of times I saved him. Being on the verge of suicide is a very tough subject to talk about for a lot of us. Um, and that, folks, I'm gonna actually in a later episode of this series, I'm gonna be going through the big one when there was the big suicide attempt that I did in 2011. I'm not gonna get to that now. That's gonna be for a future episode because this right here is talking about my brotherhood with Josh. Prior to me meeting Josh, I had met other people, including Mason Kentish, FGC, and Adam's wrestling show, who's no longer Adam's wrestling show. Everybody, here's the thing, I'm still in touch with every last one of them. It's because, I made a lot of friends thanks to my YouTube channel. That's the thing I enjoy the most about what I do and why I continue to do it, because this helps people. And I wouldn't have, if I never created my channel, I wouldn't have had my brotherhood with Josh here. We wouldn't have gone on all these crazy adventures we've been on over the last last 5-6 years. And sometimes it gets tough because Josh is in Virginia and I'm in Toronto, so there's the distance factor. Can't hang out with each other every day, but when we do get to hang out and visit, like in person, whether it's in person, on Skype, on PlayStation, all of that, it feels very special. And sometimes you just need that special person in your life. It doesn't have to be a relationship. It doesn't have to be a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a husband, a wife, any of that. Sometimes you just need someone you can look up to as a brother.
Absolutely.
Because here's the thing. When it comes to relationships, those people are the love of your life, and those are the people you chose to be with for the rest of your life. But that doesn't mean they're the only people you have to be with the rest of your life. Sometimes relationships don't go well, and when that happens, it's good to know you've got somebody to talk to about those problems, to let loose. Josh and I, we're not going to go into details, but we've both had our fair share of relationship fails, and we've been there with each other throughout it.
Yeah, absolutely.
What I also want to ask is, like you said before, we're going to keep the reasoning for you leaving your former college will remain private, but like what went through your mind when you opened up to your brother and to me about what you've been feeling?
I'll be completely honest with you. I didn't open up to anybody about what was going on. It was actually my own brother who pretty much helped me to open up, because he told me he was visiting at my dorms. It was about halfway through the semester, which would be my final semester at CNU. And it was Sunday. We went to lunch. We had a great time. And he was about to drop me off back at my dorms. And I was about to get out of the car when he said, "Hey, I can tell you're not happy here." And I stayed in the car for about 5 or 10 more minutes and just talked with him about what was going on. And I opened up to him, and then I opened up to you, and then I opened up to everybody else that I've been keeping from. And it was a rough time. It was a very difficult time for me. And I shouldn't have kept in those feelings, because that contributed to it being a difficult time, because I didn't have anybody who understood what was going on. When if I just told somebody, they would have understood. What happened with CNU, like I am gonna keep private. It was
For the record, folks, I'll just say in case you're worried, it wasn't anything illegal or messed up.
right. Um, it was just a challenging time for me, and just not the kind of environment that I wanted to be in at the time. And it was my brother who helped me to realize that. So
It just goes to show that even folks, even if you've found a college you want to go to with a career you want to go to, sometimes it doesn't exactly work out because sometimes in the midst of it, you're under a lot of the pressure and it really gets the better of you. And of course, there's other reasons that contributed to Josh leaving his college, but he got you had a pretty good learning experience from this, didn't you?
oh yeah, absolutely. It taught me a lot. I will never regret going to CNU. I think it was a great 3 semesters as far as some things are concerned. Um, and it's definitely not something that I want to look back on and regret, because it was a big teaching moment for me, because it taught me to be more responsible, and it helped me to mature more, and I feel like I've grown a lot from it.
I've always told you, to always follow your dreams, and you've told me to follow my dreams. And sometimes, let's be honest, that didn't exactly work out for either of us. But the one thing that never, not works out is our trust and belief in each other. We have. I want to get back into pro wrestling. I've been trying to find the right mental capacity within myself to get to that. You're still trying to figure out what you want to do, but no matter what you want to do, I'll be right here to support you all the way. You got your friends, your family, and you even got the Optimistic Empire.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Uh,
I'm very grateful for all of you guys who support me and support Christian. It really means a lot to the both of us.
mm-hmm. We're the Optimistic Brothers, or should we call ourselves the OBs?
I want to bring something out. You guys see it sitting right here. This right here. This is something that was gifted to me by Christian. It says Optimistic World Tag Team Champions, OB on the side, CM for Christian Maracle on the other side, LNJ for Long Neck Josh.
Thanks to Undisputed Belts. I guess this is a little bit of a promotion, folks. Undisputed Belts makes really good wrestling belts. If you go to their website, you can customize anything you want, just as long as it's not, a copyrighted image.
Right.
And it's your own design. And even when they even show you what it's going to look like prior to even creating it, in case you want to make changes, and in case you want to, even they will make suggestions saying, I would recommend maybe changing the shade a little bit like this or that to make this a lot more visible. They're really helpful. They really helped me in creating that. I wanted to make sure it was perfect, and it was. Josh has one of those titles. I got the other. Mine is upstairs. I'm not going to go find it right now.
But the reason I wanted to show this is because it's not just like a cool championship to carry around and show off to people. This is something, and I'm sure this is the same with Christians as well. This is a symbol. This is a symbol of not only our brotherhood, but of optimism, and just to be able to have this, just to look at it and know that, every time I look at it, I think to myself, I got Christian. Like, he's my older brother, one of my older brothers, and he's just an amazing person. So it really helps motivate me whenever I see this.
And before, this is going to be the last question I'll ask. In recent days, you've gotten pretty good with not just your job. Josh, by the way, folks, for at this time of us recording anyway, he works at a tropical smoothie. If you guys have a tropical smoothie in your area, it's probably good, but not as good as this one. No offense. But Josh has been known to be a great employee. He's been doing great. His boss likes him. And next to doing his job and also doing work at a community college, Josh has another major hobby that's really changed his life. And what is that?
Yeah, I am now an improv comedian. For those of you who do not know or do not follow me on Instagram or social media anywhere, I do post a lot on Instagram about it. So if you follow me there, you'll see some of it. But Yeah, and this is another thing that my older brother, my blood brother, he introduced to me. He's been doing comedy at this theater. I'm gonna go ahead and promote it if you don't mind. The Push Comedy Theater out in Norfolk. He's been doing comedy there for about 9 years, I want to say, and I just started there last year. But it's just a great place. It's a teaching theater, so they have classes there and everything. You can take classes on improv, sketch comedy, stand up stuff, musical improv, stuff like that. It's honestly one of the greatest things to have happened to me in my life because everybody that I've met in that community is so supportive of one another. So we all love each other and we all build each other up. And that's not just in the performing aspect, that is in real life as well. I've met some of my best friends from that theater, like genuinely just amazing people. And I love doing improv, but even more, I love the connections I've been able to make because of improv.
Yep. Here's the thing. A good example of why the people over at that theater is amazing. I've been there a few times. I watched Josh perform when I was visiting. He does really good. Could use a little bit of improvements, but everybody could use some improvements.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, I just meet these guys. I mean, this is group that Josh is hanging out with. I just met them, and they're treating me like they've known me their whole life. Like, it's absolutely insane. Josh, move a little bit this way.
Sorry.
They're just, it's amazing how much they treat you with kindness and respect, and I've not felt something like that since, that's it, actually. I never did. It was because, being in school and working and other stuff was horrible for me because I had very few friends, and to this day, I still have very few friends from my area. It just gave me a different feeling, and I enjoyed it very much. And that just goes to show why I know Josh is in a good place when he's over there because of how great the people are over there, and the fact that you can go ahead, make a lot of new friends, and do crazy shit comedy. Not saying your comedy was shit, but it's crazy shit.
Yeah.
The fact that you can do all that, in my opinion, is a big win, and it's all thanks to your older brother. That's included with Brotherhood.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Very grateful to have him in my life because Christian, I love you, you know that, but he is absolutely the person that I look up to the most in this world.
I would
And
never take that as an offense. He's your blood brother. He's known you your whole life.
that's true. And he's been such a great role model to me. So
Yep.
I'm very grateful to have him.
And here's the thing. Another thing, folks. This is coming from my end. Based on everything that we've shared, folks, take one wild guess who actually convinced me to finally come out to the world as gay. This guy did. Is that thunder over where you're at?
No, it's Jets. The air show is this weekend, so
Oh yeah, folks in Virginia. Josh lives really close by. Where do you live close by? It's up.
the Norfolk Naval Base.
Yeah,
Also an airport is over there in Norfolk, but the Norfolk Naval Base is actually the largest naval base in the world. So
it is. So, folks, if you hear noises, that's what that is. I thought it was thunder for a second. I thought you were having a storm. But anyways, yeah, Josh is the one who actually convinced me to muster up the courage to come out as gay. Back when I did in June. Josh at the time was one of 5 people who knew I was gay for over a year before I finally let the world know.
yeah,
He was supportive, and just like everybody else was supportive, and it was amazing. But I was very nervous to publicly come out because of what people would think. You know what I mean? That's what the same thing goes for anybody. And once again, folks, I will deny the rumors. No, I'm not into Josh. But people are going to still say that anyway.
we're brothers. We'll always be brothers.
It's always going to stay that way. Besides, I honestly think that's a much better deal, in my opinion.
Exactly.
But it was during our trip. We were in Orlando this past June, And I was like getting pretty freaked out about this because I was planning on coming out on the last day of June, and Josh gave me the last bits of encouragement I needed. So when I finally came out, the fact that I got all that support from everyone in the world, that was a huge weight off my shoulders. So I can't thank you enough for that, Josh.
Absolutely. I'm glad you did it, and now you're. I hope you were feeling somewhat set free by this.
I am actually, and once again, folks, it's all thanks to the bond I have with my brother. This just goes to show, indeed, a strong brotherhood is sometimes what you need in times when you're battling your toughest demons.
Absolutely.
So, we're going to conclude this video, folks, because, well, we've pretty much covered the toughest topics we needed to. More topics will be discussed in the coming weeks on this franchise. Josh, I know you've probably been enjoying this as much as I have.
Absolutely. I'm very proud of you for doing this series, and I'm looking forward to future episodes.
And of course, I'm hoping that it also releases a weight off your shoulders by telling your stories too.
Absolutely.
Talking with those you care about the most, folks, that is honestly a really big medicine. I'm a believer in medicine is really good for you. It's more than just the liquid stuff a doctor gives you.
Absolutely. You know, there's so much more medicine than just prescribed pills or liquids. And being able to open up with people is definitely medicine in its own right.
Yep. So if we're ever going through a really rough patch, we know exactly who to contact. We got each other, and we got our other family members. Same thing can be said for you. If you've got a strong person who you're with, a strong bond with somebody, like a brotherhood or a sisterhood, then keep a hold of that, because that's someone you never want to let go.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to put on record right now, if anybody ever is going through a rough time and just needs somebody to talk to, but you don't know who to turn to, even if you don't know me that well, you can always turn to me, and I'll do the best I can to help.
Yep. Josh has honestly helped a lot of random strangers who've been
Yeah.
fans of both of us. And a big example of, being people showing our appreciation was, I'll be quick on this one because I want to conclude the video. Josh and I, when we were hanging out last, we were at Busch Gardens at Williamsburg, Virginia, and we were getting lunch, and then we literally ran into a fan.
Yeah.
Someone who was actually a fan of both of us, and thanked us for all the positive outlets that we've given this world. And that really helped both of us.
It was very amazing to be able to experience that and to know that we helped them. That's truly motivation.
Yep. All right, folks. Well, that concludes this episode of a big episode of the Depression Update series, and one I was looking forward to the most. Long night, Josh. There's only one thing I do know. As much as I know that you're really good at fighting off your depression, I know there's always one piece of depression within you that'll never go away. And that's being a Saints fan.
I'm going to put this video now.
I'm a Saints fan too, guys. So I share that.
We'll get a Super Bowl one of these days.
No. Well, okay. I'm pretty sure we'll definitely get another one before the Lions get their first.
Oh.
Anyways, joking aside, that's also another thing you need, folks. This was an emotional video, seriousness, but then ended off with a big piece of humor. That's what we need.
Laughter is also medicine.
Laughter is also medicine. So why didn't I laugh at your improv?
No.
I'm just kidding. I did. The last time, anyway.
That's true.
Long night, Josh, folks. It's good to always see you. And thanks once again for co-hosting the Optimistic Awards last year. That was awesome.
Absolutely. I had a great time with that. And to be able to be back on the channel and to share some of my mental health issues from the past was really nice. And so thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that today.
All right, folks. Thank you very much for watching this. And always remember the important two words around here. Josh, go ahead and tell them.
Think optimistically.